The scent of oil and gasoline was her perfume, the clang of wrenches her symphony. Her hands, strong and calloused, knew the intricate language of engines better than most men twice her age. Yet when the sleek obsidian sedan purred into the bay, the man who emerged from its polished depths barely saw her. His gaze, sharp and dismissive, swept over her work overalls, lingering on a figure that defied the narrow confines of expectation. "I don't have a model's figure, but I know cars," she stated, her voice steady, a quiet challenge against the unspoken judgment. He scoffed, a barely audible sound of disbelief. What unseen fire fueled this woman, whose every turn of a wrench, every confident diagnosis, was a defiant roar against a world that judged her by her cover? This is the story of a mechanic who proved that true power isn't found in a silhouette, but in the unyielding precision of a skilled hand and the unwavering conviction of a determined heart. If this powerful opening has already revved your engines and sparked your curiosity, please consider hitting that subscribe button. Your support helps this channel grow and allows us to bring more deeply human and inspiring narratives like this one to life. Thank you. The air in Thorne's Auto Works was a familiar symphony of mechanical life. The rhythmic hiss of an air compressor, the metallic clatter of tools, the low rumble of an engine being coaxed back to life. For Rhiannon Rye Kalin, this was home. The grease under her fingernails, the faint scent of oil clinging to her overalls, the satisfying weight of a wrench in her hand. These were the elements of her world, a world she understood with an innate, almost intuitive clarity. Rye, in her late 20s, was a woman built for strength and resilience. Her frame was solid, her shoulders broad, and her figure, as she often acknowledged with a wry smile, was decidedly curvy. Society's narrow ideals of beauty had never quite fit her, and she had long ago stopped trying to squeeze herself into them. Her dark, expressive eyes, often smudged with grease, held a sharp intelligence and an unwavering determination. Her thick auburn hair was usually pulled back in a practical, messy bun, escaping in tendrils around a face that, though often serious in concentration, could break into a warm, disarming smile. She wore her work overalls with a quiet pride, even if they sometimes felt a little too snug across her hips and chest. From a young age, Rhee had been drawn to the intricate puzzles of machinery. While other girls played with dolls, she was dismantling old lawnmowers in her Aunt Isolde's backyard, fascinated by the gears and pistons. Her Aunt Isolde Vance, a pragmatic and loving woman who had raised Rhee after her parents' early passing, had always encouraged her passions, no matter how unconventional. "Your hands are smart, Rhee," Aunt Isolde would say, watching her niece meticulously reassemble a carburetor. "And a smart hand is worth more than any pretty face." This philosophy had guided Rhee through years of vocational training, where she was often the only woman in a class full of men, and into the professional world. She had faced skepticism, dismissive comments, and outright prejudice at every turn. A woman in a garage? What's next? A man in a kitchen? She'd heard. Or, "You sure you can handle the heavy lifting, sweetheart?" Her size, her gender, her very presence in a traditionally male-dominated field had always been a point of contention for others, never for her. But Rhee had learned to let her work speak for itself. Cassian Cass Thorne, the owner of Thorne's Auto Works, was one of the few who had seen past the stereotypes. A gruff but fair man in his 50s, with a salt and pepper beard and eyes that missed nothing, Cass had given Rhee her first real chance. He'd seen her talent, her dedication, and her unwavering passion for cars. He'd become her mentor, a surrogate father figure, and her staunchest defender against the occasional prejudiced customer. "Morning, Rye," Cass called out from his office, a half-eaten donut in his hand. "Got a tricky one coming in. Mr. Sterling's luxury sedan. Says it's making a peculiar clunking noise. You up for it?" Rhee wiped her hands on a rag, a spark of excitement in her eyes. "Always, Cass. You know I love a good mystery." "That's my girl," Cass grinned. "Just be prepared. Mr. Sterling's particular, and he's got a reputation for being a bit of a snob." A few minutes later, a sleek, dark sedan, a luxury model that gleamed even under the garage's fluorescent lights, rolled into the bay. The driver, Mr. Alistair Sterling, emerged. He was a man in his late 40s, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, his silver hair slicked back, his expression one of detached superiority. His eyes, cold and assessing, swept over the garage, then landed on Rye. A faint, almost imperceptible frown creased his brow. "You must be the assistant, Mr. Sterling said, his voice smooth but laced with a clear condescension, his gaze lingering on Rhee's overalls, which, despite being clean, were clearly not designer wear, and then on her figure. He hadn't even looked at the other mechanic, Zeph Blackwood, who was currently wrestling with a stubborn exhaust pipe on another car. Rye felt the familiar sting, the immediate judgment, but she kept her expression neutral. She had faced this countless times. "Good morning, sir. I'm Rhiannon Kalin, but everyone calls me Rye. I'll be taking a look at your vehicle." She extended a hand, her grip firm and confident. Mr. Sterling hesitated for a fraction of a second, then gave her hand a brief, almost reluctant shake. His eyes, however, continued to convey his skepticism. You're the mechanic?" he asked, his tone dripping with disbelief. "I was expecting someone else, someone with more experience." His gaze flickered toward Zeph, then back to Rye, a clear implication hanging in the air. Zeph, a lanky young man with a perpetually bored expression, paused his work, casting a quick, uncomfortable glance at the exchange. He hadn't yet fully accepted Rhee as an equal, often making subtle, dismissive comments about her strength or her feminine touch, not being suited for heavy-duty work. Rhee took a deep breath, her shoulders squaring. This was it. The moment she had prepared for her entire career. "Sir," she said, her voice steady and unapologetic, "I don't have a model's figure, but I know cars. I've been working on engines since I was a teenager, and I've been a certified mechanic for 5 years. Cassian Thorne, the owner, trusts me with his most challenging cases." She gestured towards Cass's office, a silent invitation for him to verify. Mr. Sterling's lips thinned. He clearly wasn't used to being challenged, especially not by someone he had already dismissed. "I merely prefer to have confidence in the person working on my vehicle, Miss Kalin. This is a very expensive car. And I assure you, sir, your car is in capable hands," Rye replied, her gaze unwavering. "Now, if you could describe the peculiar clunking noise in more detail, perhaps we can get started." Mr. Sterling, clearly annoyed but seeing no immediate alternative, reluctantly began to describe the issue. Rye listened intently, asking precise, technical questions, her mind already forming a diagnostic plan. She moved around the car, her eyes scanning, her hands gently probing, her ears attuned to the subtle nuances of the engine. She opened the hood, revealing the complex heart of the luxury vehicle, and immediately she was in her element. The skepticism of Mr. Sterling, the subtle judgment of Zeph, the weight of societal expectations, all faded into the background. Here, in the intricate dance of metal and fluid, she was simply a mechanic, and a damn good one. If Rye's unwavering confidence and her immediate immersion in the mechanical challenge are captivating you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. Rhee began her diagnostic process with methodical precision. She checked the fluid levels, examined the belts, and listened carefully with a mechanic's stethoscope, tracing the faint, intermittent clunking sound. Her hands, though not delicate, moved with a surprising finesse, expertly navigating the tight spaces of the engine bay. She asked Mr. Sterling to start the car, then to rev the engine slightly, listening intently to every nuance of its operation. "It's intermittent, you say?" Rhee murmured, more to herself than to Mr. Sterling, who stood a few feet away, arms crossed, his expression still one of barely concealed doubt. "And only at certain RPMs?" "Precisely," Mr. Sterling replied, a hint of impatience in his voice. "Which is why I find it so vexing. My usual mechanic couldn't pinpoint it." Rhee ignored the subtle jab. She knew her worth. She thought back to her early days, the countless hours spent poring over manuals, the late nights in the garage, the frustration of a stubborn engine, and the sheer exhilaration of finally solving the puzzle. She remembered the dismissive comments from male colleagues, the snickers when she struggled with a particularly heavy part, the constant pressure to prove herself. But each challenge had only strengthened her resolve, honed her skills, and deepened her passion. Her size, which others saw as a weakness, had forced her to be smarter, to find leverage, to use her body efficiently, to develop an almost intuitive understanding of mechanical physics. She crawled under the car, her overalls stretching taut as she maneuvered her curvy frame into the cramped space. The cold concrete pressed against her back, the smell of exhaust and oil filling her nostrils. She systematically checked the suspension, the exhaust system, the drive shaft. Her flashlight beam cut through the shadows, illuminating every bolt, every joint. Zeph, who had finished his own task, wandered over, leaning against a workbench, observing Ree with a mixture of curiosity and lingering skepticism. "Find anything, Ree?" he asked, his tone casual, but with an underlying challenge. "Maybe it's just a loose screw. Happens with these fancy cars." "Could be," Rye replied, her voice muffled from under the car. "But the sound suggests something more substantial. A rotational component, perhaps." She continued to probe, her fingers expertly tracing the contours of the undercarriage. Mr. Sterling shifted his weight impatiently. "Are you quite finished, Miss Kalin? I have other engagements." "Almost, sir," Ree called out, her voice calm. "Just need to confirm a suspicion." A few more minutes passed, punctuated by the soft clicks and taps of Ree's tools. Then, with a grunt, she slid out from under the car, a smudge of grease on her cheek, a triumphant glint in her eyes. "Found it," Ree announced, standing up and wiping her hands on a rag. "It's not a loose screw, Zeph. And it's not a simple fix, Mr. Sterling." Mr. Sterling raised an eyebrow, a flicker of genuine interest, or perhaps just annoyance in his eyes. "And what, pray tell, is the issue, Miss Kalin?" "It's the universal joint on your drive shaft," Rye explained, pointing to a diagram on a nearby whiteboard. "There's excessive play in one of the bearings. It's causing that intermittent clunking, especially under load. If left unaddressed, it could lead to a complete drive shaft failure, which would be far more costly and dangerous." She spoke with authority, her technical explanation clear and concise. Mr. Sterling's expression remained unreadable, but a subtle shift had occurred. The initial condescension had been replaced by a grudging acknowledgement of her expertise. He looked at the whiteboard, then back at Ree, his gaze no longer dismissive, but analytical. "My previous mechanic suggested it might be a transmission issue," Mr. Sterling said, a hint of surprise in his voice. "A common misdiagnosis for this type of clunking," Ree confirmed. "But the specific frequency and feel of the vibration point to the U-joint. We'll need to replace the entire drive shaft assembly to ensure proper balance and prevent future issues." Cassian Thorne, who had quietly emerged from his office, leaned against the doorframe, a proud smile playing on his lips. He knew Ree's capabilities better than anyone. Mr. Sterling was silent for a moment, weighing Ree's diagnosis against his own expectations. He had come in expecting to be disappointed, to confirm his prejudice. Instead, he was faced with undeniable competence. He looked at Ree, her overalls still smudged, her figure still defying the model's figure he might have preferred, but her eyes held the undeniable spark of a true professional. "And how long would this repair take, Miss Kalin?" "Mr. Sterling finally asked, his tone still formal, but devoid of its earlier disdain. "We can order the part today," Rye replied, her confidence unwavering. "It should arrive by tomorrow morning. I can have it installed and tested by tomorrow afternoon. You'll have your car back, running smoothly, before the end of the day." Mr. Sterling nodded slowly. He was still a man of rigid expectations, but Ree had, in a short span of time, managed to chip away at his preconceived notions with the sheer force of her skill and professionalism. The repair was not yet done, his full trust not yet earned, but the first battle against prejudice had been won. Rye had proven that her knowledge of cars ran deeper than any superficial judgment, and that her strength lay not in her appearance, but in the unyielding precision of her hands and the unwavering conviction of her heart. If Ree's expert diagnosis and her quiet defiance against prejudice are captivating you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to create content that celebrates the human spirit. Thank you for watching. The following morning at Thorne's Auto Works buzzed with a different kind of energy. The drive shaft assembly for Mr. Alistair Sterling's luxury sedan had arrived, a gleaming, heavy piece of engineering that lay waiting on a workbench. Rhiannon Rye Kalin approached it with a focused intensity, her mind already mapping out the intricate steps of the replacement. The garage, usually a cacophony of various repairs, felt charged with the unspoken anticipation of Mr. Sterling's return and the ultimate test of Rye's diagnosis. Cass Thorne watched Rye from his office doorway, a quiet pride in his eyes. He knew the pressure she was under, not just to fix the car, but to dismantle the ingrained prejudice of a man like Mr. Sterling. Cass had seen Rye face down countless skeptics, her skill always speaking louder than any dismissive comment. He had no doubt she would succeed. Zeph Blackwood, however, still harbored a subtle skepticism. He watched Ree prepare her tools, his lanky frame leaning against a tire rack. "Heavy lifting today, Ree," Zeph commented, his tone casual, but with a hint of challenge. "That drive shaft's a beast. Sure you don't need a hand?" Ree met his gaze, a faint smile playing on her lips. "Thanks for the offer, Zeph, but I've got it. I've learned a few tricks over the years for handling beasts." She winked, then turned her attention back to the car, already positioning the hydraulic lift. Her size, which Zeph often subtly alluded to as a potential hindrance, was in fact a source of her unique strength. She knew how to use her body's leverage, how to brace herself, how to move with an efficiency born of necessity. She began the delicate process of disassembling the old drive shaft. The work was precise, requiring a combination of brute force and fine motor skills. Rye moved with a fluid grace, her strong hands expertly manipulating wrenches, her body shifting and turning to gain the best angle. She grunted with effort as she loosened stubborn bolts, her muscles flexing under her overalls. The physical demands were immense, but Ree found a rhythm, a meditative focus that allowed her to block out everything but the task at hand. If Ree's quiet determination and her masterful approach to a challenging repair are captivating you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. Mid-morning, Mr. Sterling's sleek sedan pulled back into the garage. He emerged, his tailored suit immaculate, his expression still one of reserved skepticism. He walked directly to the bay where Ree was working, observing her from a distance. He watched as she expertly disconnected the old drive shaft, her face smudged with grease, her brow furrowed in concentration. He saw the sweat glistening on her forehead, the focused intensity in her eyes. He noticed the way her body, though not slender, moved with a powerful, almost athletic efficiency, defying his earlier assumptions about her agility. "Progress, Miss Kalin?" Mr. Sterling inquired, his voice still formal, but with a subtle shift in tone, a hint of genuine curiosity replacing the earlier disdain. Rye straightened up, wiping her hands on a rag. "Yes, sir. Old drive shaft is out. Just preparing to install the new one. Everything's going smoothly." Mr. Sterling stepped closer, peering into the undercarriage. "It looks complicated." "It has its intricacies," Rye admitted, "but it's nothing a good mechanic can't handle." She then took a moment to explain the process, pointing out the different components, describing how the new drive shaft would restore balance and eliminate the clunking noise. She spoke with a clear, confident authority, her passion for her work shining through. Mr. Sterling listened, his expression thoughtful. He was a man who valued precision and competence, and Rye was demonstrating both in spades. He still held a lifetime of ingrained biases, but the undeniable evidence of her skill was slowly, meticulously, chipping away at them. He saw not just a woman, not just a curvy mechanic, but a professional, a master of her craft. "I see," Mr. Sterling finally said, a faint nod of acknowledgement. "Continue your excellent work, Miss Kalin." He then retreated to the waiting area, but Ree noticed that his gaze lingered on her for a moment longer than before, a flicker of something that might have been respect. The installation of the new drive shaft was even more challenging than the removal. It was heavy, awkward, and required precise alignment. Ree grunted with effort, her muscles straining, but she refused to ask for help. She knew this was her moment, her chance to prove not just her skill, but her strength and independence. She used a combination of jacks, specialized tools, and sheer physical power, her body moving with a practiced economy of motion. Zeph, who had been observing from a distance, eventually walked over. He watched Ree struggle for a moment with a particularly stubborn bolt, her face flushed with effort. He saw the determination in her eyes, the refusal to give up. "Need a hand with that, Rye?" Zeph asked, his tone surprisingly devoid of its usual casual challenge, replaced by a hint of genuine concern. Ree paused, catching her breath. She could have accepted, but something in her wanted to finish this herself, to prove it to herself, and to Zeph. "Almost got it, Zeph. Just needs a little more persuasion." She gritted her teeth, applied more leverage, and with a final, satisfying clunk, the bolt loosened. Zeph watched, a flicker of admiration in his eyes. "All right, Ree. Impressive." It was a small comment, but for Ree it was a significant step. Zeph, who had always been subtly dismissive, was beginning to see her as an equal, not just a female mechanic. If Ree's unwavering strength and Zeph's growing respect are captivating you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. By late afternoon, the new drive shaft was securely in place. Ree meticulously reassembled the remaining components, double-checking every connection, every bolt. She then lowered the car, her heart thumping with a mixture of anticipation and satisfaction. The moment of truth had arrived. "All right, Mr. Sterling," Ree called out, approaching the waiting area. "Your car is ready for a test drive." Mr. Sterling rose, his expression unreadable. He followed Ree to the car, his movements precise and controlled. He got into the driver's seat, Ree in the passenger seat, and Cass stood by the bay door, watching. Mr. Sterling started the engine. It purred to life, a smooth, powerful hum. He put the car in gear and slowly drove out of the bay, onto the quiet street outside the garage. Ree listened intently, her senses heightened, searching for any hint of the dreaded clunking noise. They drove for several minutes, through various speeds and turns. Mr. Sterling accelerated, decelerated, and even took a few sharp corners. The engine remained smooth, the ride silent, devoid of any peculiar clunking. Finally, Mr. Sterling pulled back into the garage, bringing the car to a gentle stop. He turned off the engine, and a profound silence filled the bay. He turned to Rye, his cold, assessing eyes now holding a different light. "Miss Kalin," Mr. Sterling said, his voice quiet, almost subdued. "The noise is gone. The car feels perfect, better than it has in years." He paused, then extended a hand to Rye, his grip firm and genuine this time. "You are an exceptional mechanic. My apologies for my initial skepticism. I was clearly mistaken." Rye felt a wave of profound relief and triumph wash over her. It wasn't just the car she had fixed. It was a small piece of the world's prejudice she had dismantled. "Thank you, Mr. Sterling," she said, her voice soft with emotion. "I'm glad I could help." Cass, who had been watching the entire exchange, walked over, a wide grin on his face. "Told you she was good, Alistair. Best damn mechanic in the state." Mr. Sterling actually managed a faint, almost imperceptible smile. "Indeed, Cassian. Indeed." He then turned back to Rye. "I will ensure your payment reflects the quality of your work, Miss Kalin, and I will be recommending Thorne's Auto Works, and specifically you, to all my acquaintances." It was a powerful validation, not just of her skill, but of her worth as a person. Rye had faced down a lifetime of judgment, and in that moment, she had emerged victorious. The roar of the engine, now smooth and silent, was her quiet triumph, a testament to the fact that confidence and hard work could indeed outshine any stereotype. If Rye's triumphant moment and Mr. Sterling's genuine acknowledgement are bringing a smile to your face, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. The success with Mr. Sterling's car had a ripple effect throughout Thorne's Auto Works. Zeph, who had witnessed the entire process, began to treat Rye with a newfound respect. He stopped making subtle comments about her gender or size, and instead started asking for her advice on tricky repairs. He saw her not as a female mechanic, but simply as a highly skilled colleague. Their working relationship, once tinged with unspoken tension, transformed into one of mutual respect and even camaraderie. "Hey, Ree," Zeph said one afternoon, struggling with a particularly stubborn brake caliper. "Mind taking a look at this? You always seem to have a knack for these impossible bolts." Rye walked over, a knowing smile on her face. "Sometimes it's not about brute force, Zeph. It's about leverage and knowing the right angle." She showed him a technique, using a specific wrench extension and a precise movement, and with a satisfying snap, the bolt loosened. Zeph looked at her, genuinely impressed. "Thanks, Ree. You really do know your stuff." It was a small moment, but it was a powerful one, a testament to the barriers Ree was breaking down, one successful repair at a time. Cass, always Ree's biggest supporter, was beaming. He saw not just a talented mechanic, but a leader, a role model. He began to give Ree more responsibility, trusting her with complex diagnostics and even allowing her to mentor newer, younger mechanics who joined the team. He saw how customers, initially hesitant, quickly warmed to Ree's confident demeanor and clear explanations, often requesting her specifically for their repairs. Ree's reputation began to spread beyond Thorne's Auto Works. Mr. Sterling, true to his word, became her unlikely champion, singing her praises to his influential friends and acquaintances. Word of the curvy mechanic who could fix anything began to circulate in Willow Creek, challenging preconceived notions and drawing in a diverse clientele. Women, in particular, felt a sense of comfort and trust with Ree, appreciating her straightforward approach and her ability to explain complex mechanical issues in an understandable way. If Ree's growing reputation and the positive shift in her workplace are inspiring you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. Despite her growing success, Ree remained grounded, never forgetting her roots or the lessons learned from her Aunt Isolde. Aunt Isolde Vance, a constant source of wisdom and unconditional love, was immensely proud of Ree. They would often share long phone calls, Ree recounting her triumphs and challenges, Aunt Isolde offering her steady encouragement. "You're doing good, sweetie," Aunt Isolde would say. "You're showing them all that a good heart and smart hands are what truly matter. Never let anyone tell you otherwise." Rye also started to become more involved in her community. She volunteered at a local vocational school, offering workshops to young people interested in mechanics, particularly encouraging young women to consider the field. She shared her story, her struggles, and her triumphs, becoming a beacon of inspiration for those who felt marginalized or doubted because of their appearance or gender. One evening, after a particularly fulfilling workshop, Ree was approached by Councilwoman Octavia Reed, a prominent figure in the community known for her advocacy for diversity and inclusion. "Miss Kalin," Councilwoman Reed said, her smile warm and genuine, "I've heard so much about you. Your work at Thorne's is exceptional, and your dedication to inspiring young people is truly admirable. I've been particularly impressed by how you've challenged stereotypes in a traditionally male-dominated field." Ree felt a blush rise to her cheeks. "Thank you, Councilwoman. I just try to do my best." "You do more than your best," Councilwoman Reed corrected gently. "You're a role model, and I believe your story needs to be heard by a wider audience. Our city is hosting a Women in STEM Summit next month, and I would be honored if you would consider being one of our keynote speakers, to share your journey, your expertise, and your message of resilience." Rye's heart gave a nervous flutter. A keynote speaker at a citywide summit? It was a daunting prospect, far beyond the familiar comfort of her garage. She thought of the countless times she had been judged, dismissed, and underestimated. Could she truly stand on such a public platform and share her vulnerabilities, her triumphs, her truth? But then, she looked at Councilwoman Reed's earnest face, and she thought of all the young women she had just spoken to, their eyes filled with hope and uncertainty. She thought of her Aunt Isolde, of Cass, of Mr. Sterling's transformation. This wasn't just about her anymore. It was about showing others that true strength came from within, that passion and skill knew no gender or size, and that every stereotype could be shattered by the unwavering conviction of a determined heart. She had spent her life proving her worth under the hood. Now it was time to prove it on a bigger stage. The invitation from Councilwoman Octavia Reed to be a keynote speaker at the Women in STEM Summit hung in the air like a challenging, yet exhilarating, scent. For Rhiannon Rye Kalin, it was a proposition that stirred a complex mix of emotions. Her hands, accustomed to the reassuring weight of a wrench, now felt strangely empty, her mind grappling with the idea of standing before a large audience, sharing her most vulnerable truths. The garage, with its familiar smells and sounds, was her sanctuary, a place where her skill spoke for itself. A stage, however, felt like a spotlight on everything she had spent her life trying to overcome. The judgment of her appearance, the whispers about her size, the constant battle against stereotypes. "A keynote speaker, Rye," Cassian Cass Thorne exclaimed, his eyes wide with pride when she told him. "That's incredible. You deserve it, girl. You've earned every bit of recognition." "But Cass," Ree began, a nervous tremor in her voice. "What if I freeze? What if they just see me? Not the mechanic, But the curvy woman who doesn't fit the mold? The old insecurities, though largely dormant, stirred within her. Cass placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. They'll see the best damn mechanic in this city, Rye. They'll see the woman who fixed Mr. Sterling's car when no one else could. They'll see the heart and the brains that make you who you are. And if anyone judges you for anything else, that's their problem, not yours. You just tell your story and let your truth roar. Her Aunt Isolde Vance, when Ree called her, offered a similar, unwavering support. Rhiannon, my dear. Aunt Isolde's calm voice resonated through the phone. You've always had a voice, even when you thought no one was listening. Now, it's time for the world to hear it. Your story isn't just about cars, it's about courage, and that's a message everyone needs. Even Mr. Alistair Sterling, who had become a surprisingly staunch ally, offered his encouragement. He stopped by the garage specifically to congratulate her. Miss Kaylin, he said, a rare, genuine smile on his face. I assure you, your presence on that stage will be far more impactful than any model. Authenticity, I've learned, is a far more powerful currency than superficiality. Speak from the heart, and you will move mountains. With the unwavering support of her inner circle, Ree slowly began to embrace the challenge. She met with Councilwoman Reed, who helped her structure her thoughts, encouraging her to weave her personal journey with her technical expertise. Rye found herself meticulously crafting her speech, pouring the same precision she applied to an engine into every word, every anecdote. She wanted to convey not just her story, but the broader message. That skill, passion, and resilience transcend all superficial judgments. If Ree's journey from garage to keynote stage, fueled by the unwavering support of her loved ones, is inspiring you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. As the summit approached, Ree's reputation continued to grow, fueled by Mr. Sterling's enthusiastic recommendations and the increasing visibility of Thorne's Auto Works. More high-profile clients, intrigued by the stories of the curvy mechanic, began to seek her out. Women, in particular, felt a strong connection to Rye, appreciating her straightforward approach and her ability to demystify complex mechanical issues. The garage, once a predominantly male space, now saw a more diverse clientele, a testament to Ree's groundbreaking presence. One afternoon, a sleek electric sports car, a prototype model, pulled into the garage. Its owner, a renowned tech entrepreneur named Ms. Sarah Thorne, no relation to the previous story's protagonist but a nod to the name's strength, was visibly frustrated. It's completely dead, Ms. Thorne explained, her voice sharp with impatience. No power, no diagnostics. My engineers are stumped. They said it might be a software glitch, but I suspect something deeper. Cass looked at Ree, a challenge in his eyes. Electric cars are a different beast, Rye. You up for it? Ree's eyes gleamed. A new challenge, a cutting-edge technology. This was exactly the kind of puzzle she thrived on. Absolutely, Cass. Let's see what's under the hood of this future machine. Zeph, who had now fully embraced Ree's expertise, stood by, ready to assist. Think you can crack this one, Ree? These electrics are like giant smartphones on wheels. Every car has a logic, Zeph, Ree replied, already pulling on her specialized gloves. Just need to find its language. She began her diagnostic process, which for an electric vehicle was a blend of traditional mechanical inspection and advanced computer diagnostics. She connected her diagnostic tools, her eyes scanning lines of code, her mind piecing together the complex electrical schematics. She checked the battery pack, the motor, the inverter, her hands moving with a careful precision, her curvy frame maneuvering around the sleek, low-slung vehicle. She spent hours, meticulously tracing circuits, testing components, her concentration absolute. Ms. Thorne, initially skeptical of a traditional mechanic working on her advanced prototype, watched Rye with growing fascination. She saw the intensity in Rye's eyes, the methodical approach, the deep understanding that transcended mere technical knowledge. She saw a problem solver, a true engineer, regardless of her appearance. If Ree's fearless approach to cutting-edge technology and her unwavering dedication to solving complex problems are captivating you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. After nearly a full day of intense work, Ree finally pinpointed the issue. It wasn't a software glitch, nor a major component failure. It was a subtle, almost imperceptible fault in a specific sensor within the battery management system, causing a cascade of errors that shut down the entire vehicle. It was a needle in a haystack, a testament to Ree's exceptional diagnostic skills and her refusal to give up. "Found it," Rye announced, emerging from under the car, a triumphant grin on her grease-smudged face. "It's a faulty thermal sensor in cell module 3. It's sending an erroneous overheat signal, causing the system to shut down as a safety measure." Ms. Thorne, who had been pacing impatiently, stopped dead in her tracks. "A thermal sensor? My engineers ran full diagnostics. They couldn't find anything. It's a very specific fault," Ray explained, holding up a tiny, intricate component. "It only manifests under certain conditions, and the primary diagnostic software often overlooks it, assuming a broader system failure. But the error logs, when cross-referenced with the specific voltage fluctuations I observed, pointed directly to this." She spoke with a clarity and confidence that left no room for doubt. Ms. Thorne stared at Rye, then at the tiny sensor, then back at Rye, her initial skepticism completely replaced by profound awe. "Miss Kalin," she said, her voice filled with genuine admiration, "you are a genius. My entire team missed this. You have saved us weeks of troubleshooting, and potentially millions in development costs." Rye, with Cass beaming proudly in the background, simply smiled. "Just a matter of knowing where to look, Ms. Thorne, and listening to what the car is trying to tell you." The repair was swift once the faulty sensor was replaced. Rye meticulously reassembled the components, ran a full system check, and then, with a confident nod, invited Ms. Thorne to test the vehicle. The electric sports car hummed to life, its dashboard glowing, its systems fully operational. Ms. Thorne, after a successful test drive, returned to the garage, her face alight with relief and gratitude. "Miss Kalin," she said, extending her hand, "you are truly exceptional. I want to offer you a consulting position with my company, part-time, flexible hours. Your expertise in diagnostics, particularly your intuitive understanding of complex systems, is invaluable, and I believe your perspective, your ability to see beyond the obvious, would be a tremendous asset to our engineering team." Ree was stunned. A consulting position with a cutting-edge tech company? It was an offer she never could have dreamed of, a testament to how far her skill and dedication had taken her. It was a validation that transcended the garage, a recognition of her intellectual prowess, not just her mechanical aptitude. If Ree's incredible diagnostic skills and the unexpected offer of a consulting position are thrilling you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. The news of Ree's triumph with the electric car and the consulting offer spread like wildfire through the community. It was a story that resonated deeply. A curvy mechanic from a local garage, outsmarting a team of high-tech engineers. It was a powerful narrative of skill over stereotype, of substance over superficiality. Local news outlets picked up the story, featuring Rye in interviews where she spoke passionately about her love for mechanics, her journey, and the importance of following one's passion, regardless of societal expectations. Rye found herself in an unfamiliar spotlight, but she handled it with the same quiet confidence she brought to her work. She spoke authentically, her voice clear and strong, inspiring countless individuals, particularly young women, to pursue their dreams in fields where they might feel marginalized. Zeph, who had witnessed Ree's journey from subtle skepticism to undeniable respect, became her most vocal champion in the garage. He would often recount the story of the electric car to new customers, emphasizing Ree's brilliance. "She's got a mind like a supercomputer, that one," he'd say, a proud grin on his face. "Doesn't matter what it is. If it's got an engine or a circuit board, Ree can fix it." Cass, watching Ree's meteoric rise, felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had always believed in her, had seen the spark of genius beneath the grease and overalls. Now, the world was finally seeing it too. He knew Thorne's Auto Works would thrive, not just because of Ree's skill, but because of the inclusive, merit-based environment she helped cultivate. Ree's work-life balance shifted, but her passion for hands-on mechanics remained. She continued to work at Thorne's, taking on the most challenging cases, while dedicating part of her week to her consulting role with Ms. Thorne's company. She found immense satisfaction in both worlds, bridging the gap between traditional mechanics and cutting-edge technology, proving that her expertise was versatile and boundless. If Ree's inspiring journey and her ability to bridge different worlds are deeply moving you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. The day of the Women in STEM Summit finally arrived. Rye stood backstage, her heart pounding, dressed in a smart, tailored pantsuit that celebrated her curvy figure with elegance and professionalism. Aunt Isolde, Cass, Zeph, Mr. Sterling, and even Ms. Thorne were all in the audience, their faces a sea of supportive smiles. Councilwoman Reed gave her a final, encouraging nod. As her name was called, Rye walked onto the brightly lit stage. The applause was warm, but she could feel the weight of expectation, the silent questions in the eyes of the diverse audience. She saw young women, eager and hopeful, and older professionals, some perhaps still holding on to their own biases. She took a deep breath, her gaze sweeping across the room. She thought of the countless times she had been underestimated, dismissed, and judged. She thought of the grease on her hands, the roar of engines, the satisfaction of a puzzle solved. She thought of her grandmother's wisdom, Cass's unwavering belief, and the transformations she had witnessed in Mr. Sterling and Zeph. "Good evening, everyone," Ree began, her voice clear and steady, resonating with a quiet power. "My name is Rhiannon Kalin, and yes, it's true, I don't have a model's figure, but I know cars, and I know that true power isn't found in a silhouette, but in the unyielding precision of a skilled hand and the unwavering conviction of a determined heart." She spoke of her early fascination with engines, the joy of dismantling and reassembling, the frustration of stubborn parts, and the exhilaration of discovery. She spoke of the prejudice she faced, the dismissive comments, the constant need to prove herself. She spoke of the mentors who believed in her, and the clients who, despite their initial doubts, became her champions. She shared anecdotes from her work, from the simple oil change to the complex electric car prototype, illustrating how problem-solving, critical thinking, and relentless dedication were the true tools of her trade. "My journey has taught me that stereotypes are just that, superficial labels that blind us to true potential," Ree declared, her voice gaining strength. "It doesn't matter what you look like, or what gender you are, or what background you come from. What matters is your passion, your willingness to learn, your dedication to your craft, and your courage to stand tall in your own truth. Because when you let your skill speak louder than any judgment, when you let your confidence outshine any stereotype, that's when you truly unleash your own engine of influence, and you can change not just a car, but the world around you." The audience was captivated, hanging on her every word. Ree, the curvy mechanic, was no longer just a mechanic. She was a powerful voice, an inspiring leader, a living testament to the fact that true worth is always found beneath the surface, in the unyielding heart and the enduring spirit. Her story was a powerful reminder that every challenge overcome, every stereotype shattered, was a step towards a more inclusive, more equitable world, driven by the sheer force of individual talent and unwavering self-belief. The thunderous applause that followed Rhiannon Rye Kalin's keynote speech at the Women in STEM Summit was more than just an ovation. It was a wave of affirmation, a collective roar of recognition for a woman who had dared to defy expectations. Standing on that stage, bathed in the warm glow of the spotlights, Ree felt a profound sense of peace settle over her. The nervous flutter in her stomach had vanished, replaced by the quiet strength of conviction. She had spoken her truth, raw and unapologetic, and the world had listened. As she descended from the stage, a throng of people surrounded her. Young women, their eyes shining with hope, eagerly sought her advice. Seasoned professionals, some with tears in their eyes, shared their own stories of overcoming bias. Even a few older men, initially skeptical, approached her with genuine admiration, acknowledging the power of her message. Rye, the curvy mechanic who had once felt invisible, was now a beacon, her story resonating deeply with everyone who had ever felt underestimated. Cass Thorne, his face beaming with pride, was the first to reach her, pulling her into a tight bear hug. "That's my girl, Rye! You absolutely crushed it!" Aunt Isolde Vance, her eyes glistening, embraced Rye next. "Your grandmother would be so proud, my dear. So incredibly proud. Mr. Alistair Sterling, his usual stoicism replaced by a rare, genuine smile, shook her hand firmly. Miss Kalin, you were magnificent, truly. Your words were a testament to the power of authenticity. Ms. Seraphina Thorne, the tech entrepreneur, clapped her on the shoulder. Rye, you've inspired an entire generation tonight. My engineers are already buzzing about your insights. Even Zeph Blackwood, who had made the effort to attend, offered a rare, heartfelt compliment. You were awesome, Ree, seriously. You made us all proud. Councilwoman Octavia Reed, her vision for the summit realized beyond her wildest dreams, simply smiled, a silent acknowledgement of the profound impact Rye had made. If Ree's triumphant speech and the overwhelming support she received are deeply moving you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. The summit was just the beginning. Ree's story, amplified by local media and social media, quickly spread. She became a sought-after speaker, invited to schools, community centers, and even national conferences. She used every platform to advocate for women in STEM, for vocational training, and for the importance of judging individuals by their competence and character, not by their appearance. She spoke passionately about the need to dismantle stereotypes, to create inclusive environments where talent could flourish, regardless of gender, size, or background. Her role at Thorne's Auto Works expanded significantly. Cass, recognizing her leadership potential, officially made her the shop manager, entrusting her with more administrative duties, client relations, and the mentorship of new apprentices. Ree, however, never abandoned her tools. She still took on the most challenging diagnostic cases, still got her hands dirty under the hood, ensuring she remained connected to the practical heart of her profession. She found immense satisfaction in teaching, guiding young mechanics, both male and female, with patience and expertise, instilling in them not just technical skills, but also the values of integrity and respect. Her consulting work with Ms. Thorne's tech company also flourished. Rye's unique ability to bridge the gap between hands-on mechanical intuition and complex digital diagnostics proved invaluable. She helped Ms. Thorne's team develop more robust diagnostic tools, drawing on her real-world experience to identify blind spots in their software. She became a key voice in their design process, ensuring that new vehicle prototypes were not only technologically advanced, but also practical and user-friendly for mechanics. The garage itself transformed. Thorne's Auto Works became a hub for innovation and inclusion. Cass, inspired by Rye, invested in new equipment, including specialized lifts and tools that made heavy lifting more accessible for all body types, subtly acknowledging the physical challenges Rye had once faced. The atmosphere was one of mutual respect, where every mechanic, regardless of their background, was valued for their skill and contribution. Zeph, now Rye's most loyal colleague, often joked, "Who needs brute force when you've got Rye's brain and a well-placed lever?" If Ree's expanding influence and the positive transformation of her workplace are inspiring you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. Rye's personal life also deepened. Her bond with Aunt Isolde grew even stronger, their phone calls now filled with shared triumphs and reflections on the journey. Aunt Isolde, seeing Ree's impact, often reminded her, "You're not just fixing cars, Rhiannon. You're fixing perceptions, and that's a much harder but far more important job." Mr. Sterling, once the epitome of prejudice, became a genuine friend and a powerful advocate. He regularly brought his vehicles to Thorne's, always requesting Rye, and often brought his influential friends, proudly introducing them to the most brilliant mechanic I know. He even started a scholarship fund for women pursuing vocational training in STEM fields, naming Rye as an honorary board member. He often confided in Rye, admitting how much she had taught him about humility and the true meaning of worth. Councilwoman Reed became a close ally, collaborating with Rye on several community initiatives. They worked together to establish mentorship programs for at-risk youth, particularly focusing on encouraging girls to explore non-traditional careers. Ree's story became a cornerstone of these programs, a living example of what was possible when passion met perseverance. One day, Councilwoman Reed approached Rye with an ambitious proposal. "Ree," she began, her eyes alight with excitement, Our city has an old, abandoned industrial building downtown. It's an eyesore, but it has incredible potential. I envision transforming it into a state-of-the-art vocational training center, specifically focused on automotive technology and renewable energy, a place where young people, especially those from underserved communities, can gain practical skills and find pathways to meaningful careers. And I want you to lead the project. Rhee's heart leaped. This wasn't just about fixing cars. It was about building futures. It was about creating the very opportunities she had once yearned for, a place where no one would be judged by their appearance, but by their potential and their drive. It was a monumental undertaking, requiring fundraising, architectural planning, curriculum development, and community engagement. But Rhee, with her proven leadership, her technical expertise, and her unwavering vision, was the perfect person for the job. "Councilwoman," Rhee said, a determined glint in her eyes. "I'm in. Let's build something incredible." If Rhee's commitment to building a brighter future for her community is deeply inspiring you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to share these powerful and uplifting stories. The Kalin Vocational Center became Rhee's passion project. She poured her heart and soul into it, working tirelessly alongside Councilwoman Reed, Mr. Sterling, who became a major donor and fundraiser, Cass, and a team of dedicated volunteers. She oversaw the renovation of the old building, ensuring it was equipped with the latest technology, while also creating a welcoming, inclusive environment. She designed the curriculum, drawing on her own experiences to create practical, hands-on training programs that empowered students with real-world skills. The center opened its doors a year later, a shining beacon of hope in the heart of the city. Its grand opening was a community celebration, attended by hundreds, including the mayor, local dignitaries, and countless families eager to enroll their children. Rhee, standing beside Councilwoman Reed and Mr. Sterling, looked out at the bustling, vibrant center, filled with eager students and state-of-the-art equipment. It was a tangible manifestation of her life's work, a place where every student, regardless of their background or appearance, could find their passion and unleash their potential. During the opening ceremony, Councilwoman Reed spoke eloquently about Rye's journey. This center, this dream, would not have been possible without the vision and unwavering dedication of one extraordinary woman, Rhiannon Kalin. She taught us that true power isn't about fitting into a mold, but about breaking it. She showed us that a curvy mechanic can not only fix an engine, but can also build a future for an entire community. Rye, stepping up to the podium, felt a familiar warmth spread through her. She looked at the faces in the crowd. Aunt Isolde, her eyes brimming with pride. Cass, beaming like a proud father. Zeph, offering a thumbs up. Mr. Sterling, his once cold eyes now radiating respect and admiration. She saw the young students, their faces filled with hope, ready to embark on their own journeys. "When I first started in this field," Rhee began, her voice clear and strong, "I faced a lot of skepticism, a lot of judgment. People saw my size, my gender, and they made assumptions. They thought I couldn't handle the heavy lifting, or that I didn't have the brains for complex diagnostics. But I knew, deep down, that my worth wasn't defined by their narrow perceptions. It was defined by my passion, my skill, and my unwavering belief in myself." She paused, her gaze sweeping across the room. "This center is for every young person who has ever been told they're not enough, for every girl who loves cars but fears she doesn't belong, for every individual who has a dream but faces barriers. Here, we don't judge by appearance. We judge by effort, by curiosity, by the spark in your eyes, and by the fire in your heart. Because every single one of you has an engine of influence within you, waiting to be unleashed. And here, we're going to help you rev it up and drive towards your incredible future. If Rye's inspiring legacy and the creation of the Kalin Vocational Center are deeply moving you, please show your support by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement helps us continue to create content that celebrates the human spirit. Thank you for watching. Years passed, and the Kalin Vocational Center thrived, becoming a model for similar initiatives across the country. Rye, still managing Thorne's Auto Works and consulting for Ms. Thorne's company, dedicated much of her time to the center, mentoring students, developing new programs, and continuing her advocacy work. She became a national figure, a symbol of resilience, skill, and the power of breaking down barriers. Her life was a testament to the profound truth that true strength is not about conforming to societal ideals, but about embracing one's authentic self. She had proven that a curvy mechanic could not only master the most complex engines, but could also ignite the engines of change in an entire community. She had transformed skepticism into respect, prejudice into partnership, and doubt into unwavering belief. Rhee often thought back to that day, years ago, when Mr. Sterling had first pulled into Thorne's Auto Works, his eyes filled with judgment. She remembered her quiet defiance, her unwavering declaration, "I don't have a model's figure, but I know cars." Those words had been a promise, a challenge, and a prophecy. She had not only known cars, she had known herself, her worth, and her power to change the world. One wrench, one lesson, one stereotype shattered at a time. Her journey was an enduring reminder that the most powerful drive comes not from horsepower, but from the unyielding heart of a woman who refused to be underestimated, and who, against all odds, chose to roar. What an incredibly powerful and inspiring conclusion to Rhiannon's journey. If her story of turning skepticism into triumph, building a legacy of empowerment, and proving that true worth shines from within has deeply moved you, please show your support. Hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs a dose of inspiration, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more powerful and uplifting stories like this one. Your engagement helps us continue to create content that celebrates the human spirit. Thank you for watching.